The morning fog hung thick over the private airstrip at Skyview International, wrapping the gleaming jets in an eerie shroud. Among them stood Snoop Dogg's newest acquisition, a $65 million Gulfstream G650, its polished surface catching what little sunlight penetrated the mist. The legendary rapper approached slowly, each step measured, unaware that this day would become one of the most challenging battles of his career. Something felt off. The usual bustle of the airstrip was oddly muted, and the few ground crew members visible through the fog seemed to be watching him with unusual intensity. Snoop's security detail had been delayed by traffic, leaving him alone for these crucial first moments, a detail that would soon prove significant. As he neared the jet, the hair on the back of his neck stood up. Years on the streets had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, every one of them was screaming danger. The sound of boots on concrete echoed behind him, growing closer with deliberate purpose. And quat. Hold it right there. And quat. The voice cut through the morning silence like a knife. Snoop turned slowly, coming face to face with a security guard whose badge read and quat, Matthews, and quat. The man's hand rested purposefully on his holstered weapon, his eyes narrow with suspicion. And quat. This is a restricted area, and quat, Matthews declared, his tone dripping with barely concealed contempt. And quat. I'm going to need to see some identification. And quat. Snoop reached carefully into his jacket, noting how the guard's hand tightened on his weapon. And quat. This is my jet, and quat, he explained calmly, producing his credentials. And quat. Everything's in order. And quat. Matthews snatched the documents, examining them with exaggerated skepticism. His lip curled into a sneer. And quat. These look fake to me. Nobody like you could afford something like this legitimately. And quat. The words hung in the air like poison. Snoop felt his pulse quicken, but kept his voice steady. And quat. What exactly do you mean by nobody like me? And quat. Before Matthews could respond, the distant wail of police sirens pierced the morning calm. The guard's smirk widened. And quat. We'll let the authorities sort this out. And quat. 3 police cruisers appeared through the fog, lights flashing against the mist, creating an otherworldly display. 6 officers emerged, their hands hovering near their weapons. The situation was escalating rapidly, and Snoop knew the next few moments would be crucial. What followed was an hour of calculated humiliation. Every document was questioned, every statement met with disbelief. The fog lifted, but the tension only thickened. Other passengers and crew members gathered at a safe distance, their phones recording the scene discreetly. Snoop stood his ground, maintaining his composure even as his anger threatened to boil over. Finally, after an eternity of verification calls and background checks, the truth could no longer be denied. The jet was his, purchased legally with the fruits of decades of hard work. But instead of an apology, he received only grudging acknowledgement. As he finally boarded his jet, Snoop felt the weight of the morning's events settling on his shoulders. But something else was building inside him, a determination that this incident wouldn't be swept under the rug. He pulled out his phone and began recording, his voice steady but charged with purpose. The video he posted would spark a national conversation, but the story was far from over. Within hours, as his message spread like wildfire across social media, dark forces began to move. Anonymous threats flooded his inbox. Certain media outlets started spinning the story, trying to paint him as the aggressor. And somewhere in the shadows, powerful people who preferred the status quo began plotting to protect their interests. But they had underestimated both Snoop and the power of truth in the digital age. The video had struck a chord, resonating with millions who had faced similar discrimination. Hashtag flying while black became more than a hashtag, it became a movement. The security guard, Matthews, disappeared from public view, but rumors circulated about his connections to various hate groups. The airport launched an internal investigation that would uncover a pattern of discriminatory practices. And Snoop, rather than backing down, doubled down on his mission. He used his jet exactly as he'd planned, not as a symbol of wealth, but as a tool for change. He flew to communities in need, spoke at schools, and helped launch programs to fight systemic racism in the aviation industry. Each flight was a statement: success knows no color, and dreams have no boundaries. The story could have ended there, with justice served and lessons learned. But 3 months after the incident, Snoop received an anonymous email containing security footage from that foggy morning. What it revealed would shock the nation and force a reckoning that would reshape policies at airports across the country. But that's another story, one that proves sometimes the biggest victories come from the battles we never expected to fight. The narrative continues to build suspense around the security footage revelation, the broader investigation it spawns, and the lasting changes it brings to the aviation industry. Each chapter weaves together personal struggle, systemic injustice, and the power of standing up for what's right.